Hi, I'm Laurie, a transformational holistic practitioner, and my company is WellnessWithin. I am here today to talk about something that I think is super important, and I have heard time and time again, either through my channeling or my many years in practice, working with other people within energy, but it's about perspective. And I think I've talked a little bit about this before, but I want to talk about it again, and I want to bring it into the concept of regression. So I work in regression. I do past life, or what we call past life. It's just another time that has to do with your current time that you're in. Between lives, so when we leave the earth plane or embodiment and we move into our more spirit form, then there is a place that we go to between making the contract and coming back again into some type of embodiment wherever we may go. So that's between lives and all the things that happen there. Which is we review prior time, and then we clear that and go into a sort of the death scene and clearing that. And then you are out of body and in the spirit, and you are experiencing what it's like before you come into time again. And you're doing a review, you're meeting your council members. Where are you in regards to how the council comes to you? Do you stand, do you sit, are you amongst them, do you stand separately? All of this tells you something. Who are your council members? How many? Where do they all come from? They come from different places. What do they have to tell you? Who is the elder of the council? So that's just one little aspect. You'll meet your higher self, your master guide, who's been with you forever, since your beginning. You will go to the Hall of Records. You will go to find out what your origin is, of where you, other than originating from the divine, where are you really from? Because we're all from different places. Are you basically an earth soul, one who incarnates time after time on the earth? Or are you one that only comes once in a while, maybe a couple times to earth, and really embodies elsewhere? Or are you from the angelic realm? So you may have angels from the angelic realm at your between lives. So, oh my goodness, there's all different things to look at in that time. And then there's the opportunity to go to future lives also. That means a projection into the, what we'll call future, just another timeline, so to speak, and retrieving information that you can come back with to help yourself today in current time. So, having said that, that's a soul regression and what you could potentially see or have experienced, and they're all separate types of hypnosis regressions. So in that, the reason I bring this up is that when we look at the topic of perspective, what does that have to do with what we'll call a regression, okay? Well, if we stop and think about what it is, perspective, it's about how we look at something, how we view it. And in our humanness, we look at things through the ego, and we are working to look at it through our heart, but we don't always remain there. We don't hold that energy, that frequency all the time. And so that's what we're working to do, to elevate, right? But we still come through the ego. So when we do a regression, or when you end your embodiment and go between lives before making the contract to come into a new again, you get an opportunity to do what's called a review. We look at everything. We will look at a past life, the time that you just came from. You will look at, and this might sound expansive in a sort of way, but you get an opportunity to look behind so-called eyes of everything and everyone you experienced in that time, in that particular lifetime. So just think about that. Think about what you are getting to look at and how you're getting to experience it through many, many different perspectives. So if I can say, perspective is everything. It is everything. It is what we are here to learn. It is what the divine created, everything, because it's about seeing things in so many different ways and having the experience. So yes, perspective is very, very important. And in our humanness, in our ego, we're very limited in our perspective. So most of the time we get our perspective. If we have a close friend or somebody that is very close to us, they may share their honest perspective of something for us. But most times it's the pair of glasses that we wear. And so when you are getting that review between lives, you have an opportunity, an expansive opportunity to be able to look at things in so many different ways. Now, I'm an artist of many years, and I'm self-taught. I never really took a class to teach me. So I had to learn myself, and it was through my eyes that I learned that art, in the way a painting, if you put it under bright light, you're going to see certain things. And when you take it away and you hold it in a little bit of darker area without the light shining, you're going to see other things. So, and I often say, like if you stand to the left of a painting, you might see it one way. And then if you stand to the right, you might see something different. It's a perspective, okay? So, again, perspective is everything. It's what you're going to look at and how you're going to view it. And we know 2020, the year, we had a perspective change, right? And so it's about our ability to see and what we see and how we see it. And so reincarnation, whether you believe or not, we come into embodiment in different types of people. So one time we can be a mother, a father, an auntie, we can be a grandmother, we can be a child, we can be male, female, and multi ways of looking at things. And why? Because it's about how we're going to view it, and then what's the takeaway? What is it that we're going to grow from? So we come in, as a homeopath of over 25 years, I have learned that people come in with imbalance and they have a certain perspective about something. They have a story. We all have a story. Everybody on earth has a story. And there's distortion in our story. And so when we're looking at something in a certain way, now I'm going to give an example, silly example, but say you're 7 years old and little Johnny's sitting behind you. Now I'm talking to the females in the audience. Little Johnny's sitting behind you and you have pigtails, and little Johnny pulls your pigtail and says, "I hate pigtails." And from that point on, you never wear pigtails again because you're being mocked for having pigtails, okay? So, at some point, let's say when you're 50 years old, you make a decision that that's just junk, right? I don't need to believe it that way. I'm going to look at things in a different way. And so you begin to wear your hair in a different way, and you put pigtails in, right? And you think, wow, I really like it. There's a different perspective. So your perspective at one point was you're being judged for something you like and you don't look good that way or whatever. And then you come to a point where your perspective changes. Now, as a homeopath, we offer what we call an energy medicine. It is a medicine that changes mind and body, and the threads that run through our way of thinking, and then which boils down to some physical symptomology. So what happens with that is our perspective changes. And homeopathy being energy medicine, it creates the catalyst for change. It doesn't change everything. It only changes or helps to bring about an energy reflection so that you can make a change. And so you might feel you have to stay in a certain job because of fill in the blank. And that could be blocking your world, right? Then you take something, or you do something, or some energy occurs in your world, and you begin to look at things in a different way. And you say to yourself, I really don't need to think this way. Maybe you don't even think that. Maybe it's so subtle that you just make the change. This is the beauty of the way energy and healing happens for us. It happens all through our perspective. The pair of glasses we wear or that we choose to wear. So we gain insight through every perspective. And this is why it takes, what I want to say, so many lifetimes and opportunities for us to view things in so many different ways that we finally get it. And we finally understand it at a level which the ego really doesn't understand. It's at a different level, a very high level. And so this is what, if we're looking for change, or we're looking to really want to make some difference in our life, some shift in our life, the one very, very important way is to change our perspective. So I'll share with you a really quick little story. Many, many years ago, in early 90s, I did a journey, a shamanic journey. I've been in shamanism and doing journey work for many, many years. And it happened to be, I was doing a journey, and I always start out in what I call the garden. A garden, it can be anything, but it's a sacred garden. It's a safe place for everybody. And in my garden, you have lots of things in a garden, and everything in your garden or your special place could be a beach, could be anything. My husband has a golf course. So it can be anything, but someplace very safe and something very special to you. And so in my garden, everything is reflective of you. And so I thought, and this is many years ago, I thought, I'm going to put a bench in my garden because I want to invite my guides and whomever else can come and share information with me. I'm looking for knowledge, I'm looking for wisdom, I'm looking for how to grow myself. And that's what shamanism opens us to. Within the void or the darkness of not knowing, it opens us to enlightenment. And so I put this bench, and I sat down on my bench in my garden, in my journey. And I had a question, and I invited a spirit or a being to come and share their perspective with me, okay? And so what shows up, and I write about this in my book, Oh No, Not Another Learning Experience, because it speaks volumes, and it still speaks volumes to me. This Asian man shows up, 5-corner hat, long beard with braids, and in his kimono, and he shows up, and what that represents to me, now remember, everything represents something to you and reflects you, and so what it represents is a man of wisdom. So here comes this being with much wisdom, and he sits down next to me and answers my question. Now, my question was, how do I change this fear that I have? And his answer, very simple, as many masters will only speak very simply, but with a lot of food for thought behind it. He says to me 3 little words, and they still resound in my ears. And he says, move the bench. Now, I didn't think that was all that much at that very moment, but it is everything, because what it talks to us about is perspective. It's how you're looking at something that can change everything for you. Now, sometimes we need some help in order for us to change deeply. Sometimes those markers on our DNA carry distorted information that's been handed down or wherever it's coming from in our society. We learn all kinds of distorted things. But it carries this information, and it can be changed. And that information is very important, and it is all about our perspective. So it gives us an opportunity to see outside of the ego, where the distortion lies, our true self, and much more, much more. It gives us an opportunity to know the magnificent soul each and every one of us are. And when we see life from that perspective, you now know what life is all about. Thanks for being with me today. I hope this is helpful. This information has always been helpful for me. When, as a practitioner, I get stuck on a case with someone, or somebody comes to me and they need some help, or whatever it is, a friend, or something for my own personal self that I need to look at different. This has been, I want to say, probably one of the most tops important things for me to really have grabbed a hold of in my life today. It has helped me so greatly. I hope it helps you. I hope it helps to expand and open your mind and help you look at life in a different way. Thanks for being here. I hope you'll join me again. And if you enjoyed this information, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment, share with me your perspectives and how things have changed for you. I really want to know. I love hearing everybody's stories. So bye for now. I will see you soon. And remember, keep your light shining. Thank you again.